let's just keep going. Let's keep mastering this dang fretboard. Now this is part 2, which, by the way, part 1 is linked in the description. But all of these have a key purpose. We are learning one by one every position of the major scale up and down the entire fretboard. Now why does that matter for guitar? Well, essentially every single scale, not even essentially, literally every single scale that you will play is based on the major scale. So the moment you lock in the major scale in all of its positions and can tap into any note in that scale at any time, the easier it is to add new scales and variations. Let alone, you won't be like trapped here or like here. You go all over the place. So last time we learned position 1. And we moved that right into position 2. Today, we go from position 2 to position 3. Let's go. Hey, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so that you see the rest of this series and all of the other videos I do way too much with my life. And if you are subscribed, I love you. Thank you. I love you. So real quick, as a refresher, let's think about that second position that we learned in the previous video. I'll go ahead and put that up right now. On the low E, it's 5th fret, 7, 8. On the A, it's 5, 7, 9. On the D, 5, 7, 9. On the G, 5, 7, 9. On the B, it's going to be 7, 8, 10. Same with the E string, 7, 8, 10. Now again, when we're talking about positions of the major scale, we're literally playing the same 7 notes over and over and over. It's just that they're everywhere. They're either the same octave or they're a lower octave, a lower pitch or frequency, or a higher octave pitch frequency. But like a G is still a G all over the place. So when we think about positions, it's a good way for us to link the entire fretboard and understand where all of those notes are, especially if you're pattern focused in the brain. So when we started with position 1, we were starting on the 3rd fret, that G, and we played through our first position. Well, the second position just starts on the second note. So in that first position, we went 3, 5, 7. So our second position just starts on that 5. The same works throughout the rest of the positions. So in that second position, we went 5, 7, 8. Well, guess what? Our third position starts on the 7th fret. So let's take a look at what we're learning. I'll put it up now. That way you get a somewhat visual idea before I show you on the guitar. Our third position is going to look like 7, 8, 10 on that low E, 7, 9, 10 on the A string, 7, 9, 10 on the D, and then on that G we go 7, 9, 11. On the B we're going to go 8, 10, 12, and the same exact thing on the high E, 8, 10, 12. So you could probably start to understand how this moves us up the fretboard. We've already gone from a position starting here, and now we're ending on that 12th fret. So we've already covered such a distance with just 3 positions. Remember, same notes, but we're just starting on that 3rd scale degree of G major. So as long as the chords and the tonal center that you're working around as you play these lead parts or solo parts or exercises is G major, you're still playing everything within that key, just in different locations. Now, as we did with the previous one, I want to give you some practical exercises to start cooking these in. And what we typically do is, we kind of have a problem. We'll typically start low and then go high on our patterns. And we'll do that for every single pattern in every single position. What I mean by that is a lot of times we'll start our first position here at the low E, and we'll go through, and then we'll stop. And then we'll go to the A note, and we'll play the second position from low to high, and then we'll stop. But what's happening subconsciously when you do that is you're training your brain to only see that pattern from that view. So it's time to challenge it a bit in your daily practice routine. Let's start with the easy one. I want us to start on the second position, the one we learned in the last video and we touched on in the beginning of this one, the one that starts on the 5th fret of the low E. And the moment we get to that 10th fret on the high E in that position, in that pattern, I want us to slide our pinky up on that same string to the 12th fret. Because now, as you now know, you are at the ending point of the 3rd position. So I just want you to scoot up there and work your way backward on that 3rd position. But we don't stop there. I want you to know how all of these connect. So I also want you to incorporate a secondary exercise here for this video. I want you to combine all 3 positions in the same way. So I want you to start your first position on that 3rd fret of the low E, like we have been. When you get to the last note, scoot up to the last note of the 2nd position and come back. When you get to that first note of your 2nd position, that 5th fret of the low E, I want you to slide your index finger up to the 7th fret. And you guessed it, I want you to play from low to high, your 3rd position. By doing it this way, you'll notice real quick that the exercises are the same, but different. In the first variation, when we're going from the 2nd position to the 3rd position, you're starting at the low point of the 2nd position, and then on the 3rd position, you're starting at the high end of that position. But when we start with the 1st position, into the 2nd, into the 3rd, those orders switch. So again, it's all about just connecting the dots so that you're not just focused here. You know where that scale falls across this entire darn thing. So hopefully this was valuable for you, and of course we're going to continue these. The next one will be position 3 to 4. But for now, practice. And I'll see you soon.